All right, world, what's going on with y'all? This is Kyle Means right here checking in another Monday night Mean show. Got my man Drew Stevens alongside with me as always. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes,
And
sir.
as I was just telling my man before we came on, this ain't gonna be a long show. But we typically have gone over like longer with these shows than I would expect coming in. But this ain't gonna be the case. In large part because we don't have a guest this week. So we're just gonna pretty much stick to the basics and just go hop and skip over the Chicago teams and stuff, whatever's comes whatever the obvious stuff in the news this week. And give our opinions and be out pretty much, Um, you know, I mean, of course, there's a couple obvious things going on, but before we even get into all that, like I said, I want to do more of this anyway. So, like, this be, me and Drew catching up as well. So, it was just starting off, man. How's your weekend?
Man, weekend was cool, man. Weekend was cool. Took my son to get a Halloween costume, and I'm not sure if you up on this, but it's this game called Among Us that it's like kids going crazy for nowadays.
I ain't
So
up on that.
yeah, we
What?
found out what's up.
Yeah, I say what's Among Us?
Among Us is like so you got all these different players. Like you can have like anywhere from 2 to 11 to 12 people in a game at one point. It's like a game on the computer basically or iPad.
Of course.
And basically it's almost like a Clue. You remember the movie Clue? Almost like that type of game where somebody among the group that's playing is kind of like the saboteur or whatever, the killer. So whoever's the killer goes around killing people basically, while everybody else is trying to figure out who that person is.
So the game is. Well, you say it's on a computer.
Yeah.
So is it like a game that you go to, or is it just something that people do like on a social platform or something like that?
It's like a game you go to. So like I had downloaded it on my phone just so that when he's on his iPad, I can be in the game with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
You take on like a character or something?
Yeah. Yep. You're like these. You can pick different colors. You're basically like in a suit. Like you can be red, black, green, yellow, orange, and it's like a little mask or whatever on each character. So every character basically looks the same.
Some gang stuff.
I know, right? Like the more I explain it, the worse it sounds, Joe. Like you let your kid play that game, yeah.
So yeah. Then you mask up. Then you go shoot somebody.
But he loves it, and he found like a costume that basically is that character that you would be in the game. So he was crazy excited. It inflates. So we're gonna take it out next Saturday. I think they're probably the Navy Pier. They got trick or treating. So we'll do that and see how that goes, man. It's gonna be
that's the dope thing about having kids is that it sort of reignites your relationship or your love with Halloween. Like, I don't have nothing against Halloween, but it's been a long time since I've really been into it. So, I don't have kids. That's part of it too. Like of course, adults, we take advantage of Halloween in different ways too. We go out and dress up and look for women in slutty costumes and stuff and try to do things. But, a lot of time with me, I'm busy or I'm doing something else. That just ain't, been my thing for a while. But, you having a son, you right in that, and, a son in grade school and stuff. I know this is a big time of year for y'all. So, I mean, you can go out and have fun at Navy Pier and do stuff like that.
Yep, exactly. You right on the money.
Are you going to dress up?
Nah. I do want to do that though, But it's because I'm tall, you know, I'm 6'6" or whatever, man. It's hard to find costumes that's gonna, you know, fit and kind of go along with whatever it is he wants to be as well. But I do want to do that though. I'm not even going front.
I'm trying to think of something trendy that would work with a tall dude. Like, you know, you think of all the trendy. Let me look something up right quick and see what they talking about as trendy costumes this year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you got my mind going too, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Something tall.
Yeah, usually usually you could think of like stuff in popular culture or something.
Yeah.
And I'm trying.
Unless it would be like playing off of the latest Space Jam, where I would be LeBron and maybe my son would be like Bugs Bunny or something.
Yeah, that could work. You know, basketball. All right, let me see. Variety, best pop culture Halloween costumes for 2021. Let me see. It's computer taking all day. Maybe I'll find something that made me want to dress up. Oh, okay. Have you watched the Squid Game show?
Yeah,
that's what's people gonna be doing a lot of the Squid dress up.
I can see that
for Hollywood. That
I definitely can see that, especially with the way that show is taking off. I could definitely see
that. Okay. So talking about they talking about it's like some Kardashian outfit. Oh, you know, you could get one of them plain them plain spooky masks like Kanye got.
Yeah,
you know, ugly white man.
Get a little Prometheus mask. Yeah, I can do that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we get some options here, man. Let's see if anything else. They say ASAP Rocky at the Met Gala. Oh yeah, we had like that. He had like a big old quilt, something that wrapped around him.
ASAP Rocky.
Yeah, he was at the Met Gala. He like let me I could share the screen. But I don't know how he pulled Rihanna, so I guess I ain't gonna question his taste, but
right. If it's good for her.
Right, yeah. I don't know. I don't think I can share the screen. But yeah, if you search him, it looked like a dog. Oh, let me see. He looked like he got a quilt on that your grandmama would wear when she go to the bathroom late at night and she don't want to be cold. Yeah.
Little house coat.
Yeah, like a house coat or you see it?
Oh yeah. Wow, how I missed that. Wow.
Yeah.
And then Rihanna, whatever that is she got on.
Yeah, I'm there. She ain't showing enough skin for my liking.
I'm with you.
Tony Soprano could be Black Tony Soprano. That'd be more for my speed because I got the body for velour. I just wear a velour tracksuit. Yeah, say I'm Tony Soprano. Man, the Gorman. I guess if you got a little girl or something, but you just a yellow blazer. Like, come on. Yeah. Princess Diana. Somebody take Princess Diana too far, man. Yeah, go out and get in a car accident.
Interesting choices in here, man.
Yeah, it's fun. Larry David. I could dress like Larry David. Oh, there you go. There you go.
There we go.
Oh.
Yep, and his costume is red too. It's inflatable. This is gonna be something else come next weekend. Or this weekend, I should say. Harley Quinn.
Yeah, you know, a lot of them be Queen.
Yeah, I feel like that's nowadays. That's kind of like a go-to Halloween costume for women.
Ooh, the Mandalorian. That'd be dope.
That's a good pick. Cruella DeVille.
Oh, wheelchair cover. It's inclusive. Black Widow.
I can dig it.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna get into any hot. If I'm still gonna get a Halloween festivities, but you got to take a picture, man. If you do something on Halloween, it's gonna be that Sunday, man. You got to bring something when we do the show next week. Yeah. Gotta see you. Gotta see what costume you rock, man.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I'm gonna have one. I don't know.
Don't be yeah, hey.
I gotta plan this out a little more.
Yeah, you still got a couple days.
Yeah.
But anyway, I chilled, you know, most of the weekend. You know, yesterday was so crappy, but I was out more than I should have been yesterday because I went and got my uncle and brought him over to my mom's, and we ate and stuff. But you know, we had, like I said, that was Sunday. Saturday I got into I finally exposed myself to the beauty of Reddit NBA streams. I never took part of the fork, but I didn't have a way to watch the Bulls at that time. So I looked at it, was like, oh, I had a connection there. You know, now I don't, you know, usually I don't snitch about stuff like that, but I think with the Reddit stuff, even if you take one down, you know, 100 more pop up. So, you know, they gotta do that. There's actually a story that I saw like a week or so ago that I think is worth bringing up because it might affect the future of watching sports, especially online and stuff. And there's talk about the MLB launching a streaming service for, you know, where anybody could watch any team without cable. Now that'd be a breakthrough because you know, usually in your hometowns you have blackouts.
Yep.
So you can't watch like with you know, the NBA with the League Pass, you can't watch the Bulls through League Pass in Chicago because they don't want to interfere with the local station that brought in this case NBC Sports Chicago, also my bosses. So I can't, so maybe I should stop talking about this. but that's how it's been for a while. And you know, with the MLB, there's talk about the MLB opening the service, and in this story that's in the New York Post, Josh Cosman wrote it. It goes on to say that this may spread out to the other leagues. It says the National Basketball Association and the National Hockey League are also considering partnering with the MLB on the new streaming service. Insiders say subscription rates would vary by geographic market. It could be between $10 and $20 a month, well below the monthly cost of most cable TV packages, which can stretch past $100, of course. So that could be dope. Like if you can really get all the regional sports networks, or you know, in the national sports networks essentially packaged all together in one service, and you could pay like between $10 and $20 for it, and you don't have to worry about anything else. Like that'd be real dope.
It would. Yeah, it would. So you would get the local broadcast of each game, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Man, okay. Yeah.
I guess every game that would be that would be broadcast under those leagues.
That's yeah.
You get.
I like that because I don't like yourself. I'm unable. I don't have NBC Sports Chicago, so I have to stream the Bulls games, which is a little irritating. But
Yeah, they say you gotta hit that Reddit or something.
yeah,
But you know, it's like I was for a while I was using YouTube TV,
mm-hmm.
which is a good source if you want to do like a comparative cable experience. But it's also getting pricey with them because you know they keep having beefs with like carriers and stuff. Like the NBC channels almost had got off of YouTube like a couple weeks ago, or like maybe last month or something, because they was negotiating you know the fees or whatever, that you know the carriage fees or whatever, and the channels almost went off and went off that service.
Okay.
And YouTube was like, well, they announced that they would take down the price, but you know you're still getting less channels than you would like that you got originally. And if you're here, you know, if you're one of the NBC Sports Network regions, you're not getting the Bulls. I mean, in our case, we're not getting the Bulls and the White Sox. The White Sox were still playing too, so that would have been bogus.
Yeah, man.
As far as that, and you know, but they worked that out. But another thing that's happening now with YouTube and Roku, if you have Roku TVs or streaming devices, they talking about that new Roku devices and stuff won't even have YouTube because they beefing with YouTube. So it's like these people got to work this stuff out, man.
So yeah, man, it's this one headache to the next, man.
Yeah, you gotta do all this maneuvering and stuff to get.
It's not,
you know,
it's not worth it. It's not worth all that. The fans suffering for what?
Right. So that's so I say I ain't got no problem with stealing no games, man. if you gonna make it hard on me,
right? Not at all. I missed the days of the Bulls being on Channel 9. You know, once a week, man. Oh my God.
Look, Chicago and really we were blessed for a much longer time than a lot of other markets. Just about every other major market had most of their teams, if not all of their teams, moved to cable way before ours did. Like that just happened for us in the last couple of years. Yeah. But up until like a couple of years ago, you still had the Bulls. You had the Blackhawks was on Channel 9. You had the Cubs and the White Sox. Well, they were all on Channel 9 at some point. And I think at some point the Cubs they had some games on Channel 7 too for a little bit. But you know, yeah, they just took everything off. Everybody, you know, all the partners with you know, I think the Cubs started it by announcing that marquee network, and then all the other teams were like, well, we good with NBC Sports, so you know, because I think they have all ownership stake in that too, so in the channel. So yeah, so they gonna keep doing that. And the Cubs, you know, they make it work well enough with the marquee network to, I guess, financially where they hold on to. They're not gonna move away from that. So they doing their thing with that, and you know.
Yeah,
and some carriers don't carry marquees. So if you're a Cubs fan, you can't see it on all the channels like that, on all the services like that. If you don't, you know.
It's just it always comes back to money, right?
Definitely.
And it's that should be the one thing that kind of like remains safe. Like I understand you're an owner, whatever, yada yada yada. But your bottom line is the bottom line. But some things like that should stay sacred to the fan base that you're, supposedly operating for.
So give them every chance that they can to see the team, at least, you know. Especially if you ain't doing nothing with the money.
Exactly.
Damn Cubs let half the team go in June or July, or whatever. And you both talking about all this money you got making off your network, and they got all these other they bought up half of Wrigleyville, maybe more than that. and they making money off the whole neighborhood. They gonna have a sports book at Wrigley Field, for next year. They gonna be making, money hand over fist, man.
Yeah.
You better put that on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
But now they talking about the rumors is that by December 1st, again, we talk about money. They gonna have a work stoppage in the MLB.
Oh yeah,
because the owners and the players is can't get along again. They ain't coming to a conclusion on the money. So yeah, we may be without baseball for a bit again next year. So and that may stop momentum that the White Sox have.
Yep, that's a good point, man.
That's rough, man.
Harkens back to 94. Was that 94?
Yeah, 94. 94, they was in first place. I think they might have the best record in the American League. It stopped in August of that year. And the year before they was in the ALCS. So they were looking to get back there and get done what they couldn't do the year before.
Yeah.
But that Reinsdorf was like, man, look, we gonna keep our share of the money that we want. He talking about he wanted a World Series. No, he wanted that money, man.
Man, that would be a cruel coincidence, man.
Yeah. But at least one of his team. Both of his teams is doing well now. I don't think we was working on. There was a post up now on NBC Sports Chicago. I saw he was quoted in the post. Reinsdorf was. I didn't really read. I had to really read what he said, but he always in the mix with that labor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think with baseball, the owners are more of a single mind as opposed to basketball, where you have a lot of different people. You have more of a diversity among the owners in basketball, and some people go off in their own way and stuff. So, you don't see so much of the. They had their thing back in 2011, of course, but they mostly keep peace. And Adam Silver's done a pretty good job under his commissionership of keeping peace between both of those sides. So given that we talking about NBA, I'm gonna start with the Bulls. Then we'll get into the Bears. We already know what's up with the Bears, but the Bulls are playing now. I saw you peek your eye, tilt your eyes a little bit. Were you looking at the score or something?
I was. Yeah, it's still first quarter. About 4.5 minutes left to go. Bulls are up 13-11. Toronto,
up at Toronto, yeah. So they looking to go 4-0 already. The 3-0 start, pretty good start. Best start since I think 16. They said, I think 2016.
Yeah,
and that was 2016-17 was the last year that the team went to the playoffs. I think that was the 3 alphas year, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was 3 alphas year.
Yeah. So that was an experimental year. I think much more experimental year than this year. I think this year they got, they had more of a solid plan in the off season, and they got it done. Of course, we've talked about the success of the off season on this show and on Running with WARR. But they got the players that they wanted, and the team has come together quite nicely, at least at the start here. It'd be nice to play Detroit 2 times every week. But that's not gonna happen necessarily. But the Bulls have started off beating teams, like I say, Detroit 2 times, and a New Orleans team that's got quite a few issues with them. That they're beating teams that they should beat. So it's a good way to get momentum going into the season. Get some confidence up. They're playing a lot of different players at the beginning of the season. So I just throw it to you, man. Off top, you observe the Bulls pretty closely, man. What's your thoughts early on this team and how they've looked in that first week?
Man, it's been exciting, man. It's been exciting. Not just the opener against the Pistons, tight game, tighter than most of us would have imagined it would be, but just that home opener, like just being able to watch some of that game and the energy that was inside the arena. It felt like a playoff atmosphere. Caruso catching lobs and doing a whole headband celebration, and Lonzo jumping around after throwing the lob. It just seemed like it was really a madhouse for real on Madison that night. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged. You know, we all realize who they've played and the fact that Cade Cunningham wasn't on the court for Detroit in either one of those two games, the fact that Zion Williamson wasn't on the court to help the Pelicans against the Bulls Saturday night. But, you know, you want to be able to get fat. I'm sorry, Friday night, I think it was when they played in New Orleans. But you want to get fat on this competition, so so to speak, before you go against some of these heavier hitters in the league. And the fact that they've played as well as they have defensively, and that's kind of been more of the reason why they've won these games, as opposed to what we all thought it would be. Them showing out on the offensive side of the ball. I think that's extremely encouraging. It's going to translate well coming up, and I know a lot of people are kind of looking ahead, especially going into Thursday against New York and those games coming up after that and going into November, kind of looking at that schedule. Some fans might be a little fearful, but I'm excited. I'm looking at it the other way. Like, Zach LaVine has preached his desire to win since he's been here. Acme, they came here to win. The moves they made have been designed for the team to get over the playoff hump. DeRozan, Vucevic, Caruso, Ball, they came here to win. So in order to do that, you've got to be able to play better against the heavy hitters of the league. So this should be exciting times. I'm sure those guys are excited too, to kind of hammer home the point of how well they have been playing and how far they can go as a team, especially given the fact that they really haven't clicked offensively yet. I take that more so as a glass half full kind of approach to what's going on right now.
I see right now on YouTube they got a video. Again, my NBC Sports Chicago, my people, got a video up of the history of Slamma Jamma. So they pushing it, they pushing that name. Stacey King, I guess, came up with it, and the channel's gonna push it. Are you cool with that name?
Oh yeah, I'll take it. I like it. I can dig it. That's a Stacey, man. He just keeps coming up with them, man.
Yeah. Stacey, man, he gonna have to pace himself, man. This team might have too many highlights for him, man. He may pop a heart vessel or something, man.
I know, right?
Not good this year, man. So, this is the best of Stacey, but yeah, it's an exciting team, man. They have athletes on this team. They have guys who can run the floor. They're doing the things that the coaches want to do, that Billy Donovan wants to do. Play aggressive man defense, play, get into passing lanes, make force turnovers, play, like I say, all inches and score low on a lot. So it's just fun, man. There have been times where I know discussing with like D and Ken and stuff where we be like, man, if the Bulls are just entertaining, that'll be fine. They don't have to necessarily be good, but at least let them be entertaining. But this is a team that really can be entertained good by the end, and really established by the end of this season as a powerful team in the East. Like, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. We still got to see how they play against the actual true competitors in the East. Maybe this, like I say, this later this week will probably reveal some things. But I'm like you, Drew. I'm positive. I don't think that I don't foresee a precipitous fall or anything. I think maybe they'll take some lumps at times, in some of these more competitive games. But I think this is a team that's going to maintain a certain level throughout the year, and I think I think it's playoffs or bust. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't make the playoffs. Really, I don't see why they shouldn't avoid the playing games.
Mm-hmm.
But let's give it a little more time for that. But they should at least be in that in that playing game situation, meaning that you're in the top 10 of the league of the conference, I should say.
Yeah.
And I don't. Yeah, I really don't think there's 9 teams better in the East with more talent, and there definitely isn't 9. There's nobody outside of God. What's the other team that's 3-0? There's only one other team that's like 3-0 in the league right now.
It's the Hornets. I thought it was one more. The Hornets and
Okay, maybe 2. Yeah. The Hornets. You're right. The Hornets are 3-0,
Mm-hmm.
so that's one team in the East, and I think it's a West team, but.
Golden State, I think Golden State might still be undefeated.
Let me get it up right quick.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the Bulls are, like I say, they start. No team is even, like I say, no team has even started 3-0. You're talking about the defending champions. The Wizards actually are 2-0. So yeah, with one less game, they've started. They're still undefeated. Let me see in the West. There's just low. Warriors are 3-0. So yeah, you actually got a few 2-0 teams in the West: Jazz, Timberwolves, Nuggets. But everybody else has at least one loss. Grizzlies are 2-1 in the West as well. But you got a couple teams, couple of the premier teams, the more heavily teams in the league. The Lakers and the Nets. Probably really the 2 most teams in the league both have 2 losses already. I was wondering if you got any thoughts on either one of those teams and how they started.
I think that both of them, despite the slow starts, are still going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially the Nets. I think that the organization putting a hard line in the sand with Kyrie and just kind of breaking away and saying that if you're not going to get this vaccine or until that mandate in the city is lifted, you just can't be on this roster right now. I think that bodes well for them, just in terms of not having that distraction all year long. As far as the Lakers, I'm still trying to figure out what it was that Dwight Howard said or did that made Anthony Davis go crazy like that.
People just don't like the white man. A little bit of the white go a long way, man.
Yeah, but like they are familiar with each other. They played with each other, won a championship together in the bubble year. So I'm trying to figure out what it was that set him off like that, man. And it was weird. The whole little, I wouldn't even call it pushing and shoving because the White didn't look like he even stepped toward AD in terms of like extending his arms to shove him or push him or anything like that. It looked like it was all AD. Right. So that was kind of confusing, and the whole thing with Rajon Rondo and the fan, and it's crazy, man. But they're gonna be fine, man. They're gonna be, in terms of getting to the playoffs. Like I've heard some people say, kind of hot take it in terms of, I don't think the Lakers are gonna make the playoffs. I'm definitely not ready to go that far. Like I think LeBron will figure.
Oh yeah, that's stupid. Yeah.
LeBron will figure it out. This kid Reeves that they got on the team. I haven't gotten a chance to watch him yet, but apparently he's, they're kind of hyping him up as the next Caruso. So,
we got another white kid. Yeah.
So they're gonna.
I watched some highlights from yesterday against Memphis. That the good 9-minute extended highlights that the league provides on YouTube. I recommend those if you can't catch a whole game. But that was a pretty good game yesterday. Of course, the Grizzlies being competitive and a team that I think a couple of us in our season entry survey, a season opener survey, I should say, mentioned the Grizzlies as being a team that could break through this year. And yeah, they Ja Morant, of course, is doing this thing, and he showed out quite a bit on the Lakers yesterday. I think he had 40 points, and yeah, well, Reeves factored in with some of those highlights yesterday. Made some nice passes, did some nice nice things on the offensive court, and Carmelo had a nice vintage game yesterday.
Yep.
28 points, passed Moses Malone, I believe, for ninth in the all-time scoring list, and he's right behind Shaq now, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see how Shaq reacts to that on TNT Thursday.
Me too.
But yeah, that if they got too much talent to miss the playoffs. That's an idiotic take there, and but as far as the there may be like 3 or 4 or 5 more incidents like this over the year where somebody on their team is yelling at somebody else or ready to punch somebody else. Like that team is just created for that, man. They threw a whole bunch of type A personalities and alpha males together and just said, look, go get us a title. And they're gonna fight and claw and do whatever they can until they lose a 4th game in a series in the playoffs. They're gonna be a threat.
Yeah.
And that's good. The same can be said for the Nets. Despite all the craziness they got, Kyrie got people protesting for him out in Brooklyn. Like people was rushing. Did you see that? People rushing. People rushing the Barclays Center. Like it made me think of that the story of Charlie Murphy talking about how him and his thug friends used to bum rush, get into shows at the Long Island, the stadium out in Long Island Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
He said he just bum rushed to security. That's what these fools was doing for Kyrie, man, at the Barclays Center. So let Kyrie play. Like you ain't got nothing better to do on a Sunday, you idiots.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I guess to a certain extent, none of us should be that surprised given the tone in the country right now and the back and forth between the people who have gotten vaccinated and those who choose not to be vaccinated. Like that whole conversation, man. It's not surprising, but it's still kind of like, damn, that really happened, huh?
Yeah. And I think I'm not gonna go off on a tangent here. We might speak some more of this on Running with War tomorrow, but I think Kyrie needs to, if he wants to be a leader, show some leadership and calm these people down in the street, man. He's still not hearing nothing from him, and it's like you want people to come get out in these streets and get arrested and get their heads knocked in, for you because you making this conscious decision, a so-called conscious decision, and the easiest thing in the world will be for you to get that shot and get on the court, and that'll be it. It's not that much. It's not that much of a denial of your purpose or a compromise of your ideals as you think it is. Just do something that would make sense. To do something that really would underscore this yearning that you seemingly have to be a leader. Do it for your team and do it for these people out here who are so easily swayed and easily influenced by anybody who is famous and talented that they willing to go head up with security at the Barclays Center,
right,
just because they share a similar thought as you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got to say about that for now. But
yeah.
Let me go back to the Bulls right quick before we move on. The games that they'll have before we reconvene next week, they'll have, like I said, the Knicks game on Thursday here at United Center, and Saturday they play the Jazz. That's going to be another tough game.
Mm-hmm.
And the Celtics, they travel to Boston next Monday. So they'll be starting that while we'll be on. So yeah, the schedule is starting to gear up now. It's like these first 3 games with another couple of preseason games that they get to count.
Man.
But now they really get to do it. starting with these games. So we'll have a bit more to talk about next week and see how they, like I say, you picked the Jazz in the finals, man. So that should be an interesting game for you to observe, huh?
Yeah. Man. That'll be our first time against the Western Conference opponent.
Yeah.
And what better opponent to go at than the team that won the West last year? It'll be a good measuring stick for us, man, in terms of how we fare against.
But the Jazz didn't win the West last year.
No, I'm talking about the regular season.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. No, not not the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is another. Like I said, man, it's gonna be a lot of those games. Pretty much from here on out through November. And you spoke about the Boston game coming up next week. That's right before I think they have a back-to-back with Philly. So that'll be yeah. So that'll be something to pay attention to. It's no.
Next Wednesday they'll be in Philly, and then they'll come here for the Saturday game on the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Nets right after that.
Yep.
And then the Mavericks with Luka, and then the West Coast trip begins at the Warriors on the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Clippers, Lakers, Trailblazers, Nuggets.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be a beastly. We gonna learn a lot about this team by the end of November, man.
Yeah, I feel like we gonna know if we got a diamond or not, right off the bat, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was rough. That was hurting me just reading that schedule.
But see, I trust that this team is like, man, we got a chance to go out here and prove ourselves early, shut people up early. So I'm looking.
I think this is a team that's they down for the challenge, man. They want to prove themselves. Zach wants to prove himself. Lonzo and definitely DeMar, I think, wants to prove himself again amongst the league. So I think those three guys alone are going to set the team attitude-wise in a good place. Yep. So I'm not scared of it, but just looking at it, like those are tough teams, man. and like I say, going on that circus road trip, the quote unquote circus road trip now, but that's always a tough one. So like I say, you look at the way the Warriors are played starting out, and the Clippers, and like I say the Lakers. These are the teams that that are gonna be fighting for the NBA Finals spot. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a lot is gonna be learned in these coming weeks for the Bulls.
Oh yeah, and they actually competitively they did well last season on that circus trip. Record wise, it wasn't great.
Yeah, they played some good games, but yeah, didn't necessarily win enough.
Yeah, they let one slip against the Kings. They were, in it at the end of the game against the Lakers and the Clippers. They beat the Blazers. They were right there, man. I know it's different rosters, but it bodes well for them going into that schedule this year with the new firepower they have, and we didn't even talk about Zach possibly getting that his first ever 4-game win streak tonight if they end up beating the Raptors, which is crazy.
Oh man. Yeah, man. Zach gonna have a lot of stuff that happens to him, I think, this year that he's never seen before. Like last year was just a taste for him. It's great to see that he's come out as strong as he's come out. Like, people you mentioned it, some other people mentioned it, like, maybe he'll be in that MVP running, So if he does that, then that'll be a great sign for the Bulls overall, because then you could say, look, they do have that number one guy, and everything else falls from there as far as the talent they got. If you have a clear number one along with it, you got a team that can go deep.
Absolutely, and it'll be a sign that most importantly that the team is winning. You can't win MVP without wins, man. Teams
not in the NBA, no.
Yeah, man. So looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah. Let me. I'm a. Let's spend a second. A second. I mean, and I'm almost being there literally on the other denizens of the UC, the Hawks. Uh, we're buying the Bulls, of course. For all the reasons that we state. Got to sell on these Hawks, man. The thing that jumps out with me. They haven't won the game yet. Of course, I think if you've seen any reporting on them or heard any report on them. They haven't lost a game. They're like 0-4-1. They had one game that they took to overtime. They haven't had a lead for a second of play so far this year. That's set a record in the NHL. Like that really, I heard that yesterday. Really blew me, man. I was like, man, that's sad, man. But another thing that I saw too that kind of messed me up is that they had a sellout streak that stretched back to 2008. That was 2 years before they even won the title that they won that revived the franchise in 2010. But they had the sellout streak going back to then. It ended on Sunday, with a game against Detroit, and it seems like the fans are starting to pay to, give their opinion through their wallets, man. It's like, we can't support this like we used to, man. Y'all gotta get back on track, or there's gonna be a lot less of us coming to these games, and I don't blame them, man. I never been to a Hawks game myself. Maybe I'll go this year because it might be a little easier to go. Might be able to kick my legs up and everything,
Man, we might have to do that together, man. Knock out 2 first. I've never been to a Hawks game myself, man.
Yeah, but it's tough that as much in demand anymore, and there's really no reason for it. I think you look at we're gonna talk about, of course, the coach who's on maybe the biggest hot seat, Matt. But Jeremy Colleton looks like he's on a big hot seat as well, man. People talking about getting out that seat for the Hawks. Like I say, nobody who really follows the Hawks can be satisfied with that team right now. So you got to sell on the Hawks right now.
Yeah, man. Maybe this is my bullish just personality, but I feel like I want to go whole just because on paper they're a better roster than they were last year. So something's got to click at some point. Like I know we had Phil Thompson on, what was it, three weeks ago or so, and we talked to him about the additions or the moves that they've made to the squad, and how while they have on paper improved, that we shouldn't be looking at this team as a definite playoff team. And it seems to be it's coming to fruition right now. But at the same point, they do seem to be better. They do in terms of the pieces that they have there. So maybe it is the coach. I don't know. Maybe it is Colleton. What's this, his 4th year now?
I believe so. Yeah.
So I mean,
starting his 4th year.
4th year. So maybe we do see them Bowman make a change sooner than later, given that he sacrificed some of the youth he had on the roster, because he was going with a youth movement, wasn't he? Until he wasn't. Like all of a sudden he kind of switched lanes. He got Fleury and Seth Jones. Seth Jones is set to make a lot of money come next year, I believe. So I don't know, man. That seat can't get any hotter. And
actually, he's in his 3rd year. Actually,
3rd year. Man, I thought okay.
But one of the first things you see, you do a search on a post from the fan-sided Blackhawks site. It says Blackhawks is Jeremy Colleton the worst coach in history.
Damn.
So I mean, and there's another site. They at the same site. They want to get Stan Bowman out the paint too. Changes will only come with Stan Bowman's firing. So, and Blackhawk up is they ain't pulling no punches, man.
Man, that sound too close to the Bears situation, man.
Yeah, and we'll have to wrap up on that team. I ain't gonna, like I said, I ain't gonna go above an hour here, so we got 11 minutes. That is pretty much it. You're right. It does very much mirror the Bears because I think you have a franchise that's stagnated. Both franchises are stagnated. They have leadership that is been there for and the general manager's been there for a while. The coaches not as long, but the coaches both were. It's sort of these fresh. They were brought in as these like fresh face, supposedly innovative guys who, future, guys with a view of the future and all that. Mm-hmm. But they mostly proven to be sort of ineffectual and not really, able to do things that translate to winning. Winning. Really, in Nagy's case, he has won more than he's lost, definitely. But it's still something off about everything that he does. Like, in particular, on the Bears just never produce in the way that you would expect them to produce. They'll produce that's that allows for winning football in 2021, and they don't produce in the way that would prove that Nagy is a guy who was the guy who we thought him to be when he was hired, which was this on the ball former quarterback, a quarterback whisperer, an offensive some said genius, but he's been the opposite of that. And the Bears once again show on this past yesterday, that they are just nowhere near the upper crust of the NFL. There's winning football, and then there's what the Bears does, and they're levels below the Bears. There's like the Jets and stuff, but the Bears are much closer to the Jets than they are the Buccaneers, who are the Super Bowl champions, reigning Super Bowl champions, and that was proven without a doubt yesterday. And I don't understand anybody who thought at all that the Bears had a chance in that game yesterday. Just because they beat them on that fluke game last year didn't mean nothing. They don't have any. And we'll get into this in a second too. They're just as the team overall is really just lackadaisical right now, and they're not very. They don't have a lot of discipline about them because they, for one, they can't keep themselves on the field because you got all these guys coming down with COVID, including the coach now. So,
right.
Nagy is down with COVID, and he won't even be able to coach them this week on the field against San Francisco as they return back to Soldier Field. And it may be a good thing. That may be the best thing. That may be the best news of the year that he won't be on the sideline this week.
He gonna find a way.
He gonna come in there. He gonna come in there with a fake mustache on like Bobby Valentine did one time. I suggest y'all look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Please, that was hilarious.
One of the old managers in the Mets got kicked out of a game, and he came back to the dugout with a fake mustache on, trying to act like he was somebody else. So, that's Nagy may do that at Soldier Field. I'm gonna see if I'll probably be at the game. I'm gonna see if I see somebody who look a little bit too close to Nagy. I'm gonna that you, Nagy. I'm gonna stash that mustache on.
Yeah, I mean the Bears are gonna have they would have had a hard enough time had Robert Quinn played or a Fetty played,
right?
You know what I mean, or David Montgomery, but the fact that those guys weren't there and
Damian Williams,
the fact that those guys weren't
there. Although that was the one spot where they didn't necessarily need reinforcements because Khalil Herbert again.
That's true.
Khalil Herbert had the better rushing game than anybody's had against Tampa Bay this year.
I didn't know that.
But outside of that, they didn't have nothing, much of anything.
Nothing at all. Like they got as soon as the Buccaneers went up 14-0. I was like, dude, this Bears team is not built to come back from a touchdown deficit, let alone a 2-touchdown deficit. This thing is over, man. I didn't even finish the game. I didn't even bother. Bless you. I didn't even bother finishing the game, man. I really did.
Yeah, and that happened like it wasn't even like 4:00 when that happened. That game started at 3:25, and by 3:45, we was like, oh, this shit is over, man. Like, damn. It was sad, man. Brady did his thing, got a 600th touchdown, and they give the ball to the guy, and he they said they had the gangster back from him, like, man, we sorry, but you got to take some autograph picture or something. I don't know what he got something, but but
I saw that he got I think he got an autographed jersey or autographed ball from Tom Brady. He got an autographed jersey from Mike Evans. I think he's getting 2 season tickets the rest of this year. $1,000 worth of official store money. So it's kind of like, I mean, you getting some stuff, but
he'd have got a lot more if he put that ball on eBay.
Yeah, man.
But I think that there was I've seen some arguments about it, online and stuff. I think at a certain point, you gotta either be a good guy or the opportunistic guy. There's not necessarily the good guy, opportunistic guy. So that's your team. Those are your guys. You sort of got to play along, or you just being, another jerk out there, kind of.
Yeah.
But it's understandable too. There's times it's hard out there. So if you can find a way to come up like that, but also there's sort of like, say you in that position, you get the ball, and everybody in the arena sees that you got the ball. How you just gonna walk out of there with the ball? And like, I don't know how many people want to get physical with you, but it's like, it's just a whole. That's too much attention for me, man. Like, I don't know. If I was in that situation, I'd just be like, look, run me these season tickets and the $1,000 or whatever worth of stuff. I get it. I make good on that. And I want to see Brady sign my joint. So let me huddle up with Brady in the locker room afterwards, and we could powwow. I give the ball right to him, and we'll do that. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, no,
and I take a picture. I take a picture for the gram. That's what,
Yeah, I'm with you. That's too much pressure, man. That's too much of an angel and devil on my shoulder. Like, man, I really want to hold you for ransom for this ball, man, but I feel like I'm too good of a person, man.
Yeah, I know you would. I know you would go the right route.
Yeah.
I believe you would. So, but I mean, like I say, you get a little something out of it. You get to be, it's it's not that bad of a situation. But I say if I just think it'd be too much attention, too much. It's like winning the lottery in the hood, like
exactly right.
You don't want to, even if you get all that money, you don't want to necessarily, leave yourself out in the open with it.
Nah, man. Everybody knows you get that golden ticket, man. That hit different.
Yeah. Well, back to the Bears, I guess, man. I don't know. It's really much to say, man. It's just, I think today was actually just really indicative. I think even more so than yesterday of the dysfunction and everything. That's really, it's bad enough when you're losing, but when you're having these off game antics that are sort of getting more and more numerous. Like last week, you had the stuff where Eddie Jackson was coming at Lance Briggs for talking about him, and Lance Briggs was doing his job as it is now. Doing a good job, with that post game crew, and Eddie Jackson got he got sensitive about it, and Jalen Johnson was caught up in some stuff last week, and again, just I think I saw I think with Nagy is like 7 different Bears players and personnel who are contracted COVID in the last 2 weeks or something like that. So that's not a good look, man. In any capacity right now, you're dealing with situations where you're already a thin team in a lot of positions, and then you're making yourself thinner by losing starting talent and the like. And no, this happened yesterday with them having to plug in Lashivy. They call him Pig Simmons, the young tackle, and not he got abused by that Tampa Bay front seven, and they wound up filling his spot with Alex Bars during the game, but he had to be put in the game because Elijah Wilkinson who was ahead of him on the depth chart fell victim to COVID, and he couldn't play. And you talked already about Robert Quinn, who was having such a nice season, to miss the game because of that affects the defense. And with the defense, as far as your only method of getting to Tampa Bay is by getting to Tom. You have to rush the quarterback. You have to make Brady's pocket unstable and get to him, get him on the ground as much as you can. The Bears, that was a big part of what the Bears did last year when they beat them, and they had no chance of doing that this week because of people like Quinn being out. So, the best ability is availability, and the Bears' talent aren't even making themselves. A lot of the Bears' talent aren't even making themselves available because they didn't want to get vaccinated, or they're engaging in risky behavior outside of when they're playing and practicing. So it's just again goes to some people were evoking the name of Mark Trestman yesterday, and this was saying this was Nagy's Mark Trestman moment, and him having to announce on a Zoom call in his car while he was driving today that he won't be coaching for the near future because he has COVID is just the icing on the cake. And it's showing how much control he's losing the things. And it's showing really that he's on his way out the door. And, Bears are going to be starting as far as coaching goes, I think from square one by January. And that's really what this season should have been about from the beginning. This season really should have been them working in a new coach, but they didn't want to pull the trigger, and they had to deal with this. But they essentially was giving him one more chance, I think, with a young quarterback who they knew that he'd felt to be more tasteful than the last guy who was here, Mitchell Trubisky. But he had offer deals, and if the Bears don't want Justin Fields, if they want to make something out of Justin Fields' career here, and they don't want him to be a disgruntled quarterback who wants to be leaving this team in a few years, they got to get a new guy in who works for him and works with him and can make him into the elite quarterback that we all still believe there's a chance that he could be.
Yeah, you tweeted it out perfectly yesterday, well before the game was even over, I believe, when you said that yesterday's game was pretty much a slap back into reality for every Bears fan who thought this season should be directed to anything but Justin Fields' development. Anybody who thought that somehow the Bears are going to advance to the postseason or make it to the wild card. Like you hit the nail on the head with that one, man. It really is just forced us to take a step back and look at, what it is that we'll kind of reframe our goals. They got.
That's always the issue with Bears fans. It's like we either have our hopes too high when the team don't deserve it, or they're too low and then the team surprises us with a good year, like a couple years ago, 2018, and then we get our hopes all high again, and then they start to fail. It's just this vicious cycle. But this team was not constructed right for the type of run that you want to have in the NFL. And like I say, if you have those right thoughts in regards to the expectations and the goals and stuff, then you won't be so hard on Justin Fields. People are talking about Justin Fields is bad now because everything around him is bad. So he can't help but look bad because everything around him is bad. And people are talking about bringing back in what's my man name?
Dalton.
Dalton. Yeah. Bring Dalton back in. What the hell is bringing Dalton in going to do? They're just going to lose in another way. Is the people that I bet there's some people who actually think that if you could bring Dalton in, you could salvage some sort of playoff run from this team. This team is not making the playoffs. And so if you get your mind right about that, then you will learn. Then you will know that this season is about, like you say, objective one, 1A through Z, is getting Fields as mature and developed as he can be, so that by 2022, with the new coach and the new offense, and hopefully some new talent around him and in the key positions, then he could be confident and self and just confident pretty much, and in his abilities, and he can feel that he can lead this team going forward, and that that he's in a position to be successful going forward.
Yeah, just kind of hot. I mean, for me, I guess it's really been two opposing thought processes bumping heads with each other, because you got Pace and Nagy, who were pretty much given what's the word I'm looking for? The task at hand from them that's been passed down is that this season needs to be about winning. They need to win. They need to, make the playoffs. But then you draft the quarterback who is, we all want to be the savior of the franchise. So it's like two competing thought processes going on. You got two guys at the head of it that they're trying to get these wins. That's the reason why they brought Dalton in. But at the same time, the team is not really ready for that. And the whole thing should really be about Justin Fields and his development.
It's an inability to really rightfully size up the talent on the team. I think they really thought that if we just got this young, talented, athletic quarterback and plugged them into what we already got. Them talk that they thought that they would have everything. They had everything else around him. And that they just needed to plug him in, and they would be, they would be the playoff team. They would be a division winning team, and all this. It's sort of like, and really, what that rejects most of the history too of rookie quarterbacks in the league. You've had a few instances where quarterbacks were the last piece that was given to a team that was successful. I think probably the clearest example of that would be Ben Roethlisberger in his rookie year. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are a much better run organization from year to year than the Bears are. And at the time, they were better run than the Bears, definitely at that time. And that was all they needed. All they needed was a big young quarterback who could throw the ball, and that's what he did, and that's what I think they might have got to the Super Bowl that year, but I have to look it up. But they won like 13 games in that year, and they were very successful. But the Bears are not that team. They're not a team. They weren't even what they're not even what Arizona was a couple years ago with Kyler Murray. Like, they just don't have it right now. They have to restructure themselves, and a lot of that has to do with who's coaching and really who's scouting the talent and bringing them in from outside as well, and that goes back to Pace, to Ryan Pace. But he, who knows what his job situation is, but I think Nagy is much easier to be knocked off, and like I say, short of, I think I talked about this with Gabe, Weekend Gabe, like short of there was another guy. I was another guy, but short of them getting into the playoffs again, what reason are you going to have to bring him back? There's nothing he can prove. There's really going to be nothing on paper that he could show the ownership or the fans or the media of this town to that'll prove that he has promise, that he hasn't maxed out his abilities as a coach.
Yeah, you only get so many bites at the apple, man.
Yeah. So, anything else you got on this, man?
No, just that I feel like even though we probably would have looked at that Cleveland game and thought that, that was the worst that this season can go, somehow yesterday got even worse than that. But I really can't see the Bears getting stomped like they did yesterday anymore, or again this season like they did yesterday. Like I feel like it's only up from here, if that makes any sense. And not up meaning wins, just up meaning it can't get any worse.
Well, probably if you look at the main team that could really do them like that outside of probably the Packers on the return. But that's probably the best way to look at. That's a glass half full way of looking at the rest of it. Because still, when you look at the rest of the schedule, I don't know how many games they're gonna come. They had a crazy spread. I don't think you're much into the betting, but like the Bears were like coming into the game with like a 12, 13 point underdog, and that's a high. That's a high number for the NFL because most teams don't lose. Aren't expected to lose by 2 touchdowns coming into the game. Some, of course, some do, but to have that expectation coming in, that means that people are not expecting anything from you in the game. And of course, people know Vegas was right on that one. But I don't know how many games. I have to look at the schedule again, but outside of maybe the Lions game in Detroit, I think that's on Thanksgiving, they may not even be favored in any of the games going forward. Like on the line, what confidence can you have as an outside observer for this team right now?
None really, man. No,
you're right, man.
Like any like any positive, real serious positive momentum would be more of a surprise than anything else.
Yeah, and the Bears are liable to do that. They've done that before. Where me and Jack Silverstein was joking about that yesterday. Like, I said anything to keep us on the pipe, and he posted up a picture of Pookie for New Jack City.
Just enough, yep.
That's what they do, man. They do just enough to keep us on the pipe and keep us, addicted a little bit. Bomani Jones say, about teams, they keep you on that narcotic, that's what it is. It's that feeling of chasing that high. Mm-hmm. Eventually, you will get that high again of when they won, and we ain't even chasing the 85 high no more. We trying to chase that 07 high when they simply made the Super Bowl. Like,
yep,
we'll take that at this point, man. But it's rough, man. It ain't getting no better anytime soon, unfortunately. But that's what it is. But at least we got the Bulls. The Bulls are giving us some.
Yes, sir.
What's the score now?
I think they're about to start the third quarter. The Bulls are up 61-51.
All right, there you go. So a good chance they could go 4-1, 4-0, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're gonna leave it at that then, since it's about to be second half. We could watch that second half
Yeah.
on whatever illegal stream that's available to us. I'm gonna check and see what's available to me right now. But yeah, that's it for that, man. I think we went over the major three. Baseball is dormant now. Shout out to the Fire, who they let go of their coach a couple weeks ago, but they've shown some resilience since then. They won their home finale over the weekend at Soldier Field, and I got to check on those Red Stars too. I think they might make the playoffs, but we'll see. I'll see over the course of the week what they do. That's some soccer going on still. Let's like I say. So let's suppose women's sports, like we it ain't just the Sky. The Sky made us proud. But let's support all our ladies out there who are out engaging in athletics and doing things to represent the city. So the Red Star is definitely worth your time if you want to get into soccer and stuff. But I want to shout out to some jerk I saw on YouTube, and there's other jerks out there too. I think that made mention of the Sky and nobody came out to the parade and stuff. And get off they jocks, man. You ain't done nothing to make anybody proud in your life, and these people made a lot of a whole city proud. And you want to try to undercut what they did by just because they didn't have as many as a male professional team. Of course they didn't, but a lot of people still came out to that parade and that rally, and they celebrated and had fun. So maybe you should just worry about having more fun in your life and stop hating on these women and these teams and these fans of these teams that are doing something positive.
Well said, brother. Well said. The NBA didn't blow up right away. I mean, why? What do you get out of that? Like, that's
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what do you get out of talking down? It's clicks and stuff and reaffirmment from other jerks like them who think the same way. Basically, that's all they get out of it. Like I say, these fools don't do nothing in their lives. So what they gotta come down on some other people who actually accomplished something, just because it doesn't look like what they normally judge success or hype to be, or clout, whatever, But yeah,
it's unnecessary, man. Just white noise, unnecessary white noise.
Yeah, and black noise too. The video I saw on YouTube was some young black dude, but and again, it goes back to the whole thing about the people a lot of people who support the WNBA most are NBA players and people who know the game of basketball. They support the WNBA and its players and stuff. So, as those guys appreciate hoopers of all sorts.
Yep.
And be the ones who didn't get off of JV in high school who hate the most, They the ones who they hoop dreams deflated when they was 8 years old. They the ones who hate the most.
That's right.
Yeah, get your mind right and focus on what you're doing to create a legacy and stop hating on others. So that'll be my last word for the day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anything else you got, Drew?
Nah, nothing else, man. Appreciate you again, man. This Monday night staple here. Always.
Yeah, man. We had a good conversation, man. We went another 10 minutes on the Bears, man. They just get you worked up, man, when you start talking about them. It's hard to stop, but yeah, we like I say, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. So
yes,
as long as they don't take my credentials away, I'm good. But yeah, that's it though for now, man. We'll be back. Me, Drew, and our guys from Running with War will be on tomorrow. I got Tony Gill on with us tomorrow too as well. As I call him, young James Earl Jones with the voiceovers. You know, he was the first voice you heard on the broadcast of the Bulls home opener on Friday. We're gonna talk about, you know, him doing stuff like that for NBC Sports and everything, and you know, just talk more about the Bulls in the opening week of the NBA 75 team and all that stuff. So, you know, check us out tomorrow evening. It'll be about this time, 8 o'clock tomorrow with a new Running with War streaming live. YouTube, search for War Media on all the major platforms, Twitter, Facebook, IG. And yeah, of course, Drew. Look what Drew did on Twitter, and me Means Matters on Twitter. Follow us, and yeah, just get some more of these jokes and these takes, and all this other good stuff that we offer from day to day. And keep rocking with us, and we'll see y'all next week. All right.
Yes, sir.